All right, welcome. So here we are looking at waterfall. As you can see at the top, it's pretty much all white, but then it thins out, and then by the bottom, the blue is all showing. So we're going to try to recreate that with some brushes. And so I have a student's artwork that I copied many times, all right? And we're going to try to recreate that. Okay, so I have many brushes. I'm not sure which kind of brush you have. The best one is this fan brush. Looks like a fan. All right, maybe you have this kind of brush. We'll try that one. The hardest one is this one, and that's the one that I hate. You guys probably all have this one, so we'll try it a few times. The goal, though, is to make sure your brush is completely clean to start with. All right, so you want to make sure you have something that is clean. All right, maybe it's a coffee cup. All right, and then pour some nice clear water in there, and you might be cleaning it out if, let's see, Ms. K, clean her brush out? Nope. All right, so there, I want to clean that off really good, and if it still shows green, which it is, all right, then I might need to do it again. So I have this little extra place to put my water, and I'll just try it again. And it looks a lot better. Look at how much cleaner that looks. All right, so I have a clean brush now, because remember, you're making it white. You're only using white, and you got to get that all off your brush. All right, let's make sure this one, okay, that one's clean. That one's a little red. All right, and so the first step is just preparation. All right, you don't want to go into your beautiful artwork that you spent hours on only to put a color on and it doesn't turn out, or not clean them up. Now, if I had the time and the person that's making this wasn't waiting on me, I would probably let my brushes dry out, because I think this bedhead looking brush would, once it dries, would actually paint exactly the way I need to paint it, which I will show you in a second. All right, and let's go ahead, and I think that one was dirty too. Yeah, that's got some green on it. It's not as bad because it's going to be a waterfall, but all right. So now that that is clean, all right, I might even go do that and add some water there. Okay, the next step, you need completely white paint. All right, and so sometimes that doesn't happen, but as long as I can see there's a part that is completely white, that is good. So I'm going to go ahead and just get only the part that's white wet, and then I'm just sort of doing little circles in there. All right, and I want you to know, if you want to take a toothbrush and go like this, you can along the bottom. Just practice it first to make this splatter effect, and you can see that the mist happens. All right, and I would only do that at the bottom, and you can see you're going to get your finger a little dirty, but it's okay. All right, so I just am going along that bottom because I'm imagining the water is going to flow over here and mist, and that'll really add lots of detail right there. So let me go back in. I got the excess water off my brush, so there's a lot of paint on this brush, and there's not a lot. It's not flicking like it was before. And now my bristles are spread out. All right. And just like we saw, look, white at the top, not as white at the bottom. So I'm going to push down and just go straight. And then if you want to lift up, you can. If it does curve, it's hard for me to see. I wasn't able to do a color picture. All right. And then I don't think it comes over here. But you really, that's all you need. You don't need a lot. More, less is better. Okay. And because once you put it down, then you might be continuing to keep going back in. And again, it's that would be fine. All right. Let's go ahead and try it with a different brush. That was my favorite brush. Let's go ahead and try just this big fluffy brush. Maybe you've got a bad looking brush. And I just put not a lot of paint on it. I'm starting at the top. As you can see, I'm hardly touching it. All right. And then it looks like I need some more. Now I'm not adding any water. I'm only going back into the paint. And even then, all right, so maybe it's being difficult on purpose. I would rather you stop there rather than you go a third time and possibly, this is like, I don't want you to mess it up, okay? So let's go ahead and try another one, all right? Remember, less is more. So I'm dipping my new brush in the water because it is pretty much drying out. All right, I have a brush like this. Now the trouble is, see how solid that is? All right, so I'm going to try this again and try to spread those out. I don't know how well it'll work. I'm just going to lightly, hardly touch it at all. All right. And maybe you like that better. And so just follow a straight number 1 and go the direction it is going. And then rather than come back here, because that might not look realistic, I would just say to add the spray by adding more water to your brush and doing something like this. All right. I'm sorry, I thought you could see me. Let's try that again. Just take your finger and you're just rubbing it like this, slow motion. All right. And because it's misting and as it gets close to us. All right. So that's that brush. Again, the second brush I used was just a big fluffy brush like that. All right. So now for the one that you all mostly have, we'll see what we can do. All right. If you do have one that's wider, use that one. But I'm guessing you all just have the regular old watercolor paintbrush. Okay, so I have my brush in the white. Okay, I would even stand up for this, and you're just going to tell yourself, make a number 1, because the only way it's going to fall is pretty much down. Hardly touch your paper, and just tell yourself, make a number 1, make a number 1, make a number 1. All right, go back to your paint, move it over to the right, and just barely touch your paper. And then one more time on the spot that you didn't paint it. All right, that's what I would do. And then again, let's see how this brush does with splattering it. So I'm adding a little more water to my watercolor brush. See, it doesn't even like to splatter really. Let me add. Okay, I added a lot more water. Slow-mo. There you go. All right. Just sort of build it up at the bottom with the most. Now I did it right above the bottom, so I'm just going, maybe I'll need some more. And when you're done, make sure you go, don't touch the computer. Go over and wash your fingers. All right, and that is how to make a watercolor waterfall. Well, I use temper paint, but you can water it. This did start out a solid block, okay, and I just added a little bit of water. So if you have white paint, watercolor paint, you could do that. You could probably use white out and just sponge it really, really lightly. Let's see if I have that before we go as a possible option. So I'm looking for white out. Maybe there's an office person in your, okay, another thing. I don't want to use oil pastel, but if that's all you have, or chalk pastel. Again, I'm looking for, hopefully you're getting it done right now as we speak, if you're making a waterfall. Okay, so I have chalk, I have oil pastel, and really I wouldn't recommend it unless you've used it before. All right, let's see if I have any more paper to practice this on. I don't think I do. Oh, well, I do and I don't. It's still there. So you could go over lightly with the chalk, but you're going to end up smudging it. But this chalk sort of brings out that the paint that you just put on. Okay, I would suggest some more mist if that's what happens, and it looks like you need some mist right here. All right, so I wish you luck in finishing your waterfall, and let me see it as soon as you get done. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.